Hi there, and welcome back to another video. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you the quickest way you can ensure that your harvester is fast enough to actually win chia, because it is possible for your harvester to find a proof in one of your plots but not win any chia coin, and this can be due to slow lookup times or an internet connection speed issue. Now every time your plots pass a filter, it actually searches that plot file for a proof. Now this takes a certain amount of time, and you have 28 seconds to deliver that proof to the Time Lord. Now if we go to the wiki, and I will post this in the description below, we can see that there's a question: is it possible to have a proof but not get a reward? And it says that it's unlikely, but it is possible, and for the reasons that I specified. For one, due to network delay or internet connection speed, or the drive speed delay, how long it takes you to find a proof in your plot file. Now this is why it's highly recommended to use harvesters for multiple machine farming versus a network attached storage, because a network attached storage could increase this delay time or this lookup time. Now if you miss the time to give your proof back to the Time Lord, which is 28 seconds, well then you will not get reward even though you found a proof. Now you don't have to beat other people in returning the proof, you just have to return it within the time, which is 28 seconds. Now looking up proofs and not finding them actually takes less time than looking up proofs and finding one, because it has to do additional checks when it does find a proof. So your lookup time should be less than 2 seconds ideally, and definitely less than 5 seconds whenever your plots pass a filter but don't find a proof, because this will increase if they do find a proof. And this can be found here, where it says when you actually win a reward, your drive will have to do more lookups than these, which is why you want the lookups whenever it just passes the plot filter but doesn't find a proof to be below 5 or 2 seconds. So if we can't find the lookup time in the Chia GUI, where do we find it? Well, we can easily find it in the log file, in the debug log file. Now you will have to set your logging information to info, and I will show you how to do that. But if we open up the log file, we can see that it has lines where basically it matches our GUI. So if we minimize that, we can see that it has the number of eligible plots, number of found proofs right here, the time is over here. However, it doesn't have the time, the lookup time that we're looking for. So this is under 2 seconds, so this is perfect. However, how can we basically parse this log file, which is just a text file, to gather all these lines right here and to find all the lookup times that are above 5 seconds, or to see if we're having a constant delay that's higher than 5 seconds? Well, I have created a PowerShell function that does exactly that. So this will get Chia harvester activity. You give it the debug log file path. Now by default it will choose this path, so you don't need to specify this if you haven't moved your log file. So if we hit enter, it basically gives us what the GUI has, except it gives us the lookup time. However, this is a bit much to digest, but we can take these values and create something called a heat map. So if we go over to my other PowerShell window, here we have a heat map. Now the number inside each one of these little squares is the number of eligible plots, and the color of each one of these little squares basically represents the lookup time. So green is obviously good, which means we don't have to worry about it, whereas yellow you are starting to get a little bit higher, and red is definitely something that you need to look up. Now I did adjust the sensitivity, so basically anything over half a second will represent as red, and anything getting closer to that will be orange or yellow. And I only did this to make it more colorful, since my lookup times are generally pretty good, but really you want the sensitivity to be for about 5 seconds. So anything getting close to 5 seconds will appear more red, and then as you get lower it will be more and more green. Now up here you can see that we have kind of a summary in the title. So we have the total number of attempted proofs, or the challenges that we have, which is about 3,500. We have the lookup time. My best is 0.00495, the worst being under 5 seconds, so that is something to be concerned about. However, if we look over here, you can see that I only have 12 that went over a second. So generally speaking, this is a pretty healthy harvester. Now we can also look at our filter ratio. Now the filter ratio is basically, so if we go back to the GUI, is this right here, the number of plots past the filter. So this will be 1 in about 512. So if we go back to PowerShell and we do 1 divided by 512, we can see that it equals about 0.0019 or close to what I have here, which is 0.002. Now this heat map is being generated live, so every time that a challenge gets accepted by our harvester, you can see that it adds a block. So right now it's just currently looking at my full node, so it's only looking at the 094 right here, and it's not really looking at my harvester since those log files are on those machines. Now it would be possible to move those log files to a network share and then have it point at those, so here you can see that the 2 over 94 is right here. Now, even though it's yellow, this should be fine since the sensitivity is anything above half a second. Now, occasionally it does get a bit stuck and you might have to hit enter, which is a bit frustrating, but generally speaking, it will update automatically. Now, if you do want to run this heat map, you only need to do pretty much just 3 steps. And the first step is to set your log info to information. Now we can easily set this using Powershell. The first thing we need to do is get the path to the directory where the chia executable lives. So I'll have this in the description below as well. And then we're going to want to set our location to that directory. So we're going to do set location and then give it the path. And then once we're in here, we're going to use the chia executable. Make sure that you have the dot with the backslash, and then do configure -log -level, and then do info. And then here you can see that the logging level was updated to info. However, you will need to restart any services. So if you have the harvester going, or if you have the full node going right here, you'll need to close it out and then restart it. Now the second thing that you need to do is install the chiaPlotter module. So you'll need to open up PowerShell as administrator in order to do this. Once you have this window open, you're just going to type out install module, do -repository ps gallery. Now this is the PowerShell, or this is the Microsoft hosted gallery, and then you're going to name the module that you want to install. So in this case it's going to be chiaPlotter. Now if you already have this module installed, you might just need to update it to get the new functions that I released. Now in this case it will tell me that I already have this. So in this case I'm just going to do update module, give the name of the module I want to update, and then here it will give me the functions that I just now released. Now once I have this installed, it's just as easy as typing out chia start chia harvester watcher. Now by default it's going to be on a scale of 0 to 5 seconds, so 5 seconds being the red color, and then anything closer to 0 will be the green color. Now if we just hit enter, it will go to the default debug log location. Now if you have this moved, you will have to indicate where that is. Now you can see that all mine are green because all mine are basically under half a second. So you can see that this one was probably a little bit more closer to maybe 1 second. Now if you did want something a little bit closer to 2 seconds rather than 5 seconds, you can change the sensitivity. So you can just do start chia harvester -sensitivity. Now since it's on a scale of 0 to 5, if I do sensitivity of 5, then it will basically do a scale from 0 to 1. So we want to cut it in half and just do maybe 2, and then that will basically give, like, anything at 2 seconds will be red or above, and then anything closer to, like, let's say 1 second will be yellow. Now here you can still see that we have the summary up here, and that pretty much is it. Now you have this going and it will update as you get new challenges. Now mine is a little bit funny right now since I did zoom in. Now there is one other command that you might want to use. So it's going to be get chia harvester activity and then just the summary. Now by default it's going to grab all the debug files in this location. So it's actually going to grab all the ones that were generated that it cycles through. So if we go ahead and click enter, it will do a for each loop for each one of these files and then give you a summary based on all the activities found in those files. So the first file, which is going to be the newest one that's currently being written to, we can see that it's been going on for 9 hours. There's been a total of 688 plots, and then the best time, the worst time, the average, the filter ratio, and the challenges per minute. So this should be about 6 seconds, or about 6 per minute, because a challenge gets produced about every 10 seconds. Now my second log file might look pretty bad since it says about 3 challenges per minute, and that's because I actually had my chia harvester offline last night on accident because my computer updated. But here you can see that we got a summary for every log file and that default location. Now Chia Harvester Graph was a huge inspiration for creating a heat map in PowerShell to represent this data, so I would like to thank them, and I do recommend using their tool since it does look very, very well made. I just happen to be parsing the log files as well and creating my little Chia Harvester watchdog. So if you do want to learn more about the code, I write it line by line essentially in this video, and then I use it to create notifications both in Discord and little toast notifications on Windows. Now I hope that you found this video helpful and that you will find comfort in knowing that your harvester is working and that it has good lookup times. Go ahead and post your best lookup time in the comments, or maybe even your worst. I hope to see you next time. Bye.